get along. Thomas.
What now?
Some of you have heard me close the meeting. Be the change you want to see in the world. These words are very personal to me, and the first time I heard them, the light bulb went off. And today I'd like to share with you a few stories that exhibit this motto. It's not that hard to be kind. In fact, it doesn't cost anything. If you have the privilege to do something a little bit nicer for somebody that maybe does cost a little something, and if you can, why not? Have you had an opportunity to help somebody in need? Have you had an opportunity to open the door for somebody who maybe had filled arms? Have you had an opportunity to babysit for free? Don't call me, honey. I'm willing to open the door and do a lot of other things. I don't know if I'd be the right babysitter for you. But there's opportunities all around us. I am a Starbucks addict. I am working on it this year, and I'm doing a very good job, I might add. But I still go. Have you ever heard of their Pay It Forward? Yeah. Every once in a while, through the Starbucks drive-thru, there'll be a Pay It Forward. And sometimes it ends up being a little contest. Somebody will start it because they have it in their heart that they want to do something nice for the person behind them. So they'll suggest, I'm paying for my coffee and the coffee behind me. This can go on and on and on. I've seen numbers of 127, wow. 459, 3 days worth, over 1,000 people. Wow. One time in St. Petersburg, Florida, it went all day, 459 people. Don't be this guy. Guess who didn't pay for the coffee behind him? Peter Schorsch. It was an egregious malfeasance. Wow. Egregious. But he also wanted the barista to know that he didn't do it because he wasn't cheap. He just didn't buy into that system. So he gave her a $100 tip.
Oh.
Yeah. It just wasn't his way of showing kindness. That's what I like about being kind to others. There's so many ways, such as opening the door. We can pick up litter, which I do often in my neighborhood, much to my husband's chagrin. Leave baked goods in the mailbox for your mail carrier. There's so many things that don't cost anything extra. One day, on one of the colder days, a few weeks ago, my husband and I thought it would be a really good idea to get on the bikes and drive to Flagler for breakfast, for lunch. And it was kind of a dreary day, I will have to say. But we had our leathers on, we were almost warm.
Oh.
Almost. It's time to go to Finn's. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's at the corner of Flagler Avenue and A1A in Flagler Beach. The upstairs was closed. It was that dreary and windy. So we sat inside. No big deal. Thank you. As we're chatting with the bartender and watching some sports on the telly, the bartender was complaining incessantly about a group of Canadians, snowbirds, who were here. And as they checked out, they didn't leave much of a tip. And that pretty much dominated her conversation with almost everybody else in the restaurant for almost the next half hour. And as a server, how many people have ever served tables? That few in the room. Wow. Tips are very important. You go out of your way, you bring refills on coffee 10 times in hopes of that 15 to 20% or more. I don't know what it is about Canadians. My family is from Canada. However, they just don't tip that well. I think it's because the culture in Canada, or the employees are paid more, therefore the tipping is less. And instead it's meant as a gesture. Thank you, I'll leave you $1 on that $52 tab.
Oh.
Because you're awesome, David. Therefore, tipping up there is seen as is recognized as a gesture, not necessarily to fill the gap in our servers' wages. When we were checking out, I asked Paul, is it okay if I leave her something a little bit extra to fill that gap? Because we knew exactly how much she got and how much she should have received. And my goal that day was to change her story. She had such bad ideas about this table and Canadians in general. I was only hoping to maybe have a positive influence that day. I don't know if it did change her story. We just walked out after that after we told her that was the purpose of leaving our tip. But I'm hoping that we had some small change in her story going forward. Now that act of kindness did cost us a little bit extra, but did it really? Hopefully the outcome was worth more than the cost. It's all about how we treat people. Doesn't the Bible say do unto others as you have them do unto us? It's not that hard. We just want to be treated with respect. And kindness goes a long way, but mostly part of the human race. It's not that hard. A few years ago, I got involved with serving at a soup kitchen called the Daily Bread. It's one of my favorite places to go. The first time I went, I was devastated. It's about 10 years ago. I cried all the way home. I had no idea that existed in Orlando. I live in suburbia. How would I know that 400 people would go without food had they not walked through the doors of the Daily Bread that day? It was devastating to me. So it's one of my favorite places to go. I started off working on the line, and you can barely look up because there's people, 400 people in less than an hour, people just coming through the line, and you're just putting your part on the plate, setting the plate down the road. You can't really interact with people as they're waiting for their food. So I graduated. I was the one handing out or receiving tickets. When somebody walks in, when a guest walks in, they're handed a ticket. The ticket has zero value. It's just meant to say that they walked in through the front doors and they were given a ticket. They're supposed to give the ticket to me and they receive a meal. It's kind of a silly system, but it's their system. I didn't develop it. I got to take tickets that day. Very excited. And y'all know how corny I am. Each of the tickets had a number on the back. I had no idea what the number was for, but it didn't matter. That was going to be the essence of my game. David gave me his ticket. It said 5 on the back. David, you're now 5 years old. What are you going to do all day? I started interacting with the guests that way. Every ticket that they gave me, I knew there'd be a number. I flipped it over, saw the number, and suggested, wow, you're 87 years old. You look awesome. Sometimes asking a question, sometimes it was just a compliment. I don't know if anybody's ever served in a soup kitchen before. Sometimes the guests are not always as amicable as we would want them to be. And can you imagine being there day after day after day? What happens with the staff or some of the other more permanent volunteers or regular volunteers? It wears thin. Definitely wears thin. Oh, David, you're a troublemaker. Man, I've had it with you. Get your food and get out. I see that a lot. Here I am playing my game. It was my first time taking tickets and interacting with guests at this closeness. I mean, they're right here so they can hand me their ticket. One of the gentlemen who's in charge of the soup kitchen walks up to me. Are you doing okay? Is everything all right? One of the guests who was standing in front of me answered, well, of course she's okay. Excuse me, how did he say that? Yes, everything's fine. She's treating us like a human.
Oh.
And me, without thinking, I said, well, how else am I supposed to treat you? And then it dawned on me. Sometimes the interactions that they're having during the day, they're not even counted as humans. It doesn't take that much to treat each other kindly. if we just remember to do unto others as we would do unto, as we have them do unto us, it will give us a better outlook on the day. When I share my closing with you, be the change you want to see in the world, it's a reminder for me, but hopefully an encouragement for you.